Alright, man. What is good? We got a little boot camp vid, OT dub for y'all. So, start off, we'll go over the trade recap. I ended up actually taking more trades than just this one, but I'm not going to go over them simply because this was the only trade called out in the Discord, and for the fact that the other trades were like scalps, and it was like they were just not, they were like risky plays, but I won on all of them, and made a stupid amount of money today. Let's just say that. If I'm not going to discuss dollar amounts, I made a TikTok on this, like talking about how I no longer want to talk about how much I'm making, because I'm switching over to new brokerage real soon, and I'm actually making sure this video gets uploaded, but I'm switching over to a new brokerage real soon, and I'm in turn increasing my account size, and in turn that's going to increase profits, and also increase losses. So I just don't want you guys to like see absurd profits and be like, I can do this in 2 days, and you can't. And I also don't want you guys to, get into this and like see like a huge loss and be like, oh, TJR is terrible at trading. The only thing that matters is just the trade itself. And this was the trade that we took today. I did 0.25% risk on this because we had a bunch of US news. However, we only traded pound and Japanese yen. As you can see, price was affected a bit by news, and that's actually what stopped us out. If we took this trade after news had came out, we would have won this trade. But that's just the way it goes sometimes. Can't win them all. But let's get right into it. So essentially, this was plain and simple, just Forex strategy. So we have these London highs, boom. I waited for price. As we can see, price pushed into, boom, these London highs and then broke structure, but I didn't like that because I knew we had news coming out, and I was like, look, I at least just want these highs to get taken out. So boom, the highs got taken out. We broke structure to the downside, and then that's what I entered off of, the close of this candle. Put my stop 4 pips above these highs, and unfortunately news came out, moved up an extra like 6 pips, stopped us out, and now as we can see, price is moving in the direction that we wanted it to. Again, this was like simple execution. How could I have traded it better? Just waiting for, I guess, US news to come out. That would be my biggest thing that I would say is just like wait for that high impact US news, because I knew that obviously Powell would have affected the market, but I knew that US news was going to affect GBP JPY. I just didn't think it would be as drastic as it was today, and also like I obviously took that into account and in turn de-risked a lot. De-risked by like 0.25%. Like that's literally nothing. It was like, this was essentially just kind of like a practice trade, or just like a taking a trade, like, like just for potential to make some money today. Unfortunately, didn't hit on it, but did end up hitting pretty big on like some scalps on the S&P and gold. But again, I'm not going to cover those because I don't really want to endorse that kind of trading. I want to keep you guys safe. And this is just brutal to watch this storm towards TP1 right now. But again, we have to be emotionless. And speaking of emotions, let's get into some of the tips and tricks that I would like to talk about for today. Again, talking about conversations that we had in the Discord during these live trades. It's just like, again, it's just so interesting to see how unprofitable or how new traders' brains work when we're in a trade. Because I took this trade, and even like when I said I was going to take it, I said, look, I'm going to take this and I'm going to put on 0.25% risk. For most people, right, let's say you have a $1,000 account, that should be like $2.50. $2.50. Most people in my Discord, I'm sure, have less than a $1,000 account. I know that for a fact. It's less than $1,000 account. And when we got stopped out, again, it was lots of emotions. People like complaining, people getting really upset. And like, again, it's part of trading. Understand that like taking losses is a part of it. And, like, just, you need to realize, like, when I'm explaining something, like just fully understand that, like, if I say I'm going in with 0.25% risk, not even 1% risk, which would be like, nothing, which would, like, on $1,000 account would be $10. $10, bro. Right? Like $10. That's 1% risk. 0.25, that's $2.50, or $2.50. And we're getting emotional, and there's reasoning behind that. Obviously, it means you over risked, or you didn't understand the risk that you were putting on the table. And like, your brain, again, like going back to yesterday's video, like your brain just clearly isn't ready for this type of, for this thing, for this job, whatever you want to call this. 'Cause me personally, like when this happened, I was like, whatever, I literally, like, I do not care. Sometimes when you lose a 1% trade or a 2% trade or a 3% trade, you're like, darn, like it would have been good to get that, like to get that win. But anything lower than a 1% trade, I'm like, all right, like we're just doing this to get reps in. We're doing this like, just, like, okay, cool. We'll see if we make like a couple $1,000, or cool, we'll see if we make a couple $100, or in the Discord's case, cool, we'll see if we can make like $2 or $4 or $5 or $10 from this, and take this as like a learning experience, right? Like I was placing this trade just to get reps in, get back into the Forex group, because I think I'm going to step away from the S&P 500 for a while. And it's just like, again, it shows me, like, whenever I'm trading live with the cord, it really does show me like why 98% of traders fail. The emotions are really just not something that you can play with when you're trading, and it's very, very clear and apparent that, like, and I was in that position before too, where I was getting real emotional. I was raging when I lost trades. I would get like super duper duper upset when I lost any trades. But now it's like, this is just, it's part of the game, and I completely understand the risk that I put on the table, and I completely understand, like literally everything that I do in the market. And I'm not going to be phased or distracted by people like, saying shit, saying like, oh, like I could have 3 losing months in a row and still feel completely fine and completely satisfied with my win rate, completely fine and completely satisfied with my profitability, because I know at the end of the day, like, let's think back to the first month of this year. I went undefeated. I made like 40% that month because I didn't lose a single trade, and I was stacking bread, compound interest. I was making a lot of money. And like that month in itself would probably cover those 3 losing months if I did have them. So it's just like something that you need to keep in mind. Like, yes, you're unprofitable right now, but no, when you do turn profitable, you need, like, if you want to, again, treat this like a real job, like we talked about yesterday, if you want to treat this like a real job, not just roll out of bed, like do that thing, you have to treat losses like as if you are a profitable trader. You have to trade as if you are a profitable trader. Even if you're not, you have to lose, and you have to be like, cool, it doesn't matter because I'm going to make it back the next day. Even if you know you're not profitable, you have to have that mindset. And if you know you're not profitable, definitely don't be trading on a live account, be trading on a demo account. Okay? Trade on demo, all right? And then from there, you can shift on over to live once you do turn profitable. And once, like everything that you're saying, like, okay, I lost this week, make it back the next week, make even more of it back the following week. And let's say you have another losing week. Doesn't matter, because you're going to make it back, right? Like every time I lose or have a losing week or a losing day or, sometimes even a losing month, I'm like, I do not care. It doesn't matter. I'm unfazed. And a lot of you guys need to tap in with that and I guess be comfortable with that and be okay with that. That was kind of my main takeaway from my trade today. It was relatively quick, obviously, because we entered here and then it took it took like 20 minutes for us to get stopped out. So it was relatively in and out, but the entire time I just you're just reading all this stuff and it's like, wow, emotions are running wild right now when I said risk 0.25%, and even then, it's just it's I'm just sitting here thinking, dude, there's just no way these people are I just couldn't understand how someone could be emotional over risking 0.25% again. And that gets back to the point is know what you're risking, know the risk that you're putting on the table every single day, right? I've had plenty of videos on risk management, go over, what your risk management strategy is. Either you use a set lot size for every single pair that you trade, either you calculate your risk for every single trade that you take, or you have an estimated lot size where okay, I have these different set lot sizes that I can take for depending on how I'm feeling. For me, I have a fixed lot size. For me, I'm usually trading 100 to 150 lots on a Forex trade, right? How much did I do on this? I did 25 lots on this trade. So, right, if my usual is 100 or 200 or 150, this is a significant decrease for me, right? Most of the time I'm used to losing my usual risk tolerance is around 20 grand, right? And it's going to be more once I get into this new broker. But again, we're not talking about dollar amounts anymore. But we're if I'm de-risking that heavily, I would assume that the people who don't necessarily have that money to be risked, right? I could risk a lot more money than 20 grand on a trade and still it would be kind of whoa, I don't really want to lose this at that point, but I still would be okay. And then we get to the people who are for one, unprofitable and don't necessarily have a lot of capital. And again, this is something you need to think about. Are you financially stable to trade? That's something you actually you need to think about. Do you have enough money to one, pay the bills, to two, freaking feed you, just to be able to live? Do you have enough money coming in to be able to survive? And then on top of that, to fund a live trading account. And again, you shouldn't even be funding a live trading account unless you're profitable. So if you aren't profitable and you're trading live with money that you cannot risk, that's an obvious problem that you need to address. That's an obvious problem that you need to fix right away. Right away. So that's the piece of advice for you. More not financial advice, but more just some risk management advice for you. If you do not have money that you are able to just throw out the window to be able to trade with, and I know a lot of you guys are yeah, I don't care about this $1,000. Yes, you do, because when you lose it, you start throwing a fit. And when you lose it, or if you lose it, or when you enter a trade and you're over risked and you're over leveraged and you lose and you get emotional, that means that you were emotionally attached to that money. Money comes in and money comes and goes. I'm at the point now where just money doesn't even seem real because it's just like you swipe your card and you don't even check your bank balance. And if you're not really at that point, or if you're at the point where like you are stressing or you're upset or you're getting emotional over a loss, or even when trades just like in drawdown, that's very, 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 very bad. Like you should not be trading whatsoever. I like to think of trading as like what people think as like, people come into trading thinking that they're doing it logically. People come into trading thinking that it's like easy, or like they'll be able to do it. But then it quickly turns into just gambling. It quickly turns into, oh no, like I lost this money. How can I make it back? Like probably through trading, because I know all these, like, people come into trading saying like, I want to make a bunch of money really quick, and good thing I know how to do it because I have this strategy that's going to work. And then they get into it and they try it and it doesn't work, and then that's when they get emotional, and then that's when the revenge trading starts coming in, and then that's when like the real gambling gets going. If anything, like if you are emotional with your money and if you don't have money to risk and you still want to play with it, you are way better off going to a casino than trying to make it through trading. I'm being dead serious. You are way better off going to a casino than trying to make that money through trading. Like, if you are the type of person who's going to get like real upset about, like a $2.50 loss or a $10 loss, toss that into a slot machine. And you're honestly better off with that. Like, toss $10 into a slot machine every day, let it ride. Like you literally think I'm joking. I'm not at all. Like a lot of you guys, I obviously obviously, like, I would prefer you guys to just trade on demo and turn profitable first, or just not gamble at all. But I'm just saying, like, I'm just putting it in perspective for you guys, because, you guys can't, like, you're not doing this profitably yet, and you're putting money on the line. Why would you do that when you technically have better odds at a roulette table if you just put your money on black or put your money on red? You got a 50-50 chance there, versus like, what's your win rate over here? 30-70? I'm going to roulette until I know that I can actually do this. All right, just something to think about. So that being said, that'll wrap up this video. It was a bit longer than I actually thought it was going to be. Thought today was going to be rather quick, but that being said, it's going to wrap up today's video. I appreciate you guys. Enjoy your weekend. I'll see you guys tomorrow for another boot camp. All right?